Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, my fine people walking this planet. Welcome back to the channel. This is Recovery is Effin' Awesome. I am your host, Robo, and my day of grace is May the 7th of 2010, and I am as grateful for that as I know how to be. Hope everybody's doing good. Today is November 6th, 2025. 2 days away from the election, when New York elected their first Muslim self-proclaimed Democratic Socialist mayor. We're going to see how this goes. If anybody's been watching stuff online, depends on what side of the political aisle that you were on. You're either cheering really, really hard or prepping really, really hard. And for someone like me who is kind of in the middle, kind of watching all this stuff unfold, it's a wait and see kind of attitude. You know, whether it's the fact Mandami gets elected as mayor of New York, or the governor of Virginia, who is white, was running against and Democrat, was running against the Republican lieutenant governor, who happens to be black, and then the NAACP jumps in there and puts all their political and money and advertising dollars behind one candidate. To my surprise, this is the first time, I believe, the NAACP has actually supported a white candidate over a black candidate. So that's kind of unnerving and confusing and just bassackwards, kind of like everything else, whether it's Trump and Putin talking about they're going to restart nuclear testing, or the fact that Putin says if you send Tomahawks to Ukraine, that is going to be the red line. And so what do? As I say, we, America, NATO, it's all the same people now. We are going to send Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. It's like, what could possibly go wrong? Here's what we're going to do. Do not do the one thing that is going to send us into an active war, and we do that one thing. Whether it is Britain completely falling apart. If anybody's been paying attention, don't know what's going on. Europe is being taken over. Absolutely taken over. Just look at the videos. Do your own research. You have the police in England arresting people for tweeting. You have grooming gangs who are going around raping young women and getting very little, if any, jail time. And then you have people tweeting about it or posting things online, and they're getting arrested for multiple years. It is now illegal to fly the national flag of England in England. Think about that for a second. That's like if Donald Trump said it would be illegal to fly the American flag here in America. That is just mind-numbing. Absolutely mind-numbing. And I don't think this is by chance. I don't think this is a coincidence. I think this is planned by people who we don't know their names. Call it a cabal, call it the secret society, call it whatever you want. There are people behind the scenes running things that are making themselves richer, military contractors richer, and everybody else poorer. You have the SNAP benefits ending, supposedly. And then you have people out here online saying they're going to go take from the stores. They're going to go loot the stores. Or they're just going to wait until average American Joe citizen comes out with their cart full of groceries and rob them at their car. You know, this world is absolutely going fucking insane. But that's not really what I want to talk to you about today. How do we deal with this? How do we deal with this in our day-to-day rat-killing lives, right? It's a lot. It is absolutely a lot. However, if we have faith, like we are taught in this program, to believe in a power greater than ourselves that are going to take care of everything, and if we believe what the book says, that nothing, absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake, how do we deal with this? How do we not go absolutely batshit crazy, think the worst is going to happen, and lose all hope? Because at the end of the day, faith and hope and recovery is all we have. Because if we're sober, we have a chance. We have clear thinking. We have an opportunity to at least get ready for the shit coming down the pipe. Because I guarantee you it's not getting any better. And then somebody emailed me the other day, asked me my opinion, which is a dangerous thing, asked me my opinion about what Trump's doing with ICE, where he's sending ICE agents out in unmarked vehicles, all masked up, grabbing illegals off the street and putting them in detention centers and then getting them deported. And at first glance, it reminds me of what Hitler did in World War II, right? Round up all the Jews, right, with the Gestapo. Do I agree that there are people in this country who sneak in here illegally, which is a crime in and of itself, but they just want to better themselves and give their family a chance for a better life? Absolutely, and I support that. Do I support the fact that they're coming here illegally? Absolutely not. But I will say that our immigration system needs to be revamped, because there are people who've been trying for a number of years and spending untold amounts of money to try to become citizens. But they make it so difficult, and only certain people and certain companies are profiting off of it, and this is why the system hasn't changed. Do I think that I should come in and round up people who wish to do us harm? Abso-fucking-lutely. Do I think they need to take Joe Rodriguez, who's owned the restaurant in downtown there on the corner for the last 20 years and paying taxes and is a pillar of the community? Absolutely not. Is he here illegally? Yes. And I think it should be done on a case-to-case basis. There are so many spy apparatuses and tracking mechanisms our government uses. They know who's here. They know where they are. Go get them. Do I think that they should take kids out of school because their parents came here illegally? No. Absolutely not. Do I think that they should go get the kids whose parents came in illegally and brought them here when they were 3? You know what? At 3 years old, you don't have a fucking choice. So, no. Again, it needs to be on a case-by-case basis. But do I think it's wrong? Yes and no. And that's about as honest as I can be. Because what the bad guys and the cartels are now doing is they're rolling up completely masked up. And by the way, you can buy all the ICE badges and fake vests and all that shit off Amazon if you really wanted to. And what they're doing is they're rolling up in an SUV and they're kidnapping people. So when an SUV comes up and 4 or 5 guys jump out and they're armed and they're all masked up, do you know that they're law enforcement? How can you tell? Well, you can't. That's a problem. That is an issue to me. But anyway, getting back to the whole point of this is, how do we stay comfortably in recovery, dealing with with everything else that's going on in the world, all the craziness and the outrage from the far right and from the far left. They're the ones who get the attention. They're the ones who get the media attention. They're the ones who get the clickbaits and all this other stuff, where I believe that the majority of Americans are in the middle. They just want to pay low taxes, live their lives as best they can, support their families, and just go about their business without too much government interference. Do we need government? Absolutely. Do we pay so many taxes? It's ridiculous. And my question is, if the government shut down, why are we still paying taxes? The government shuts down, we should stop paying taxes until it opens back up. And the reason it shut down, in case anybody doesn't know, if you're watching mainstream media, it's all the Republicans' fault, which is horseshit. They call it the Schumer shutdown for a reason. Because what the Democrats want to do is they want to spend billions of dollars paying for health care for illegal immigrants. Not Americans, illegal immigrants. Now, you may think that that's kind of a far right side. Well, let me give you, coming from the far left side. Everything that Donald Trump is doing is not America first. The MAGA crowd is divided Because when he says America first, yet he's spending billions to our closest ally, can't really say the name because I'll get in trouble, probably get shadow banned. The FBI people show up at my door. He's sending billions of dollars to Europe, sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, sending billions of dollars to Argentina. Fucking Argentina. Like, seriously? How about we take care of our homeless veterans first? How about we take care of our homeless Americans first? How about all that money that you're sending over there? Let's revamp the WIC and the SNAP system to where people aren't abusing it and they're not on it for generations. Let's use it for the people who actually need it. The elderly, the disabled vets, the disabled people, people who literally cannot work. And it's called supplemental for a reason. There have been people on this for generations. And the number being thrown about is 40 million people are on SNAP. That is almost 1 in 8 Americans are getting some kind of assistance from the federal government, which I find it comical because just a couple weeks ago they were out, and most of these people are probably out at this No Kings protest, right? They don't want a king, but yet when their SNAP benefits runs out, they want the king to feed them. I digress. It's enough to make you fucking insane. But anyway, in my reading this morning, and we're going to get to the point here in a second, it says going with the flow, right? With all this bullshit, right? What can we do? We just go with the flow. It says, the first words I speak when arising in the morning are, I arise, O God, to do thy will. This is the shortest prayer I know, and it's deeply ingrained in me. Prayer doesn't change God's attitude toward me. It changes my attitude toward God. As distinguished from prayer, meditation is a quiet time, without words. To be centered is to be physically relaxed, emotionally calm, mentally focused, and spiritually aware. One way to keep the channel open and to improve my conscious contact with God is to maintain a grateful attitude. On the days when I am grateful, good things seem to happen in my life. The instant I start cursing things in my life, however, the flow of good stops. God did not interrupt the flow. My own negativity did. See, so all this stuff that's going on, we have to keep a grateful heart and a positive mindset, right? We have to be positive, grateful for the things that we have, not envious and jealous of the things that we don't. Because if we keep chasing the things that we don't, we will forget to be grateful for the things that we have. This podcast is to help people understand that no matter what, right? The book says it, job, no job, wife, no wife, I can still stay sober, right? When I wake up in the morning, it is my choice. As I go through the day, it is my choice. Do I choose to be sober or do I want to go change the way I feel? Do I get emotionally upset over all the nonsense that's going on in the world because I may or may not like it? Do I cheer for the things that are happening because it's my guy who I voted for? Or do I cuss the things that are happening because it's not my guy and it's not the guy I voted for? You know, I don't believe that the average person, me included, identifies themselves as a political party as most on the far left or the far right do. I don't know when we stopped becoming Americans and started becoming either Democrats or Republicans or conservatives or liberals or whatever label that you want to put on it. Right? We need to find that day, September 12th, 2001. We need to find that attitude where we're all Americans. We're all in this for America, for each other. We should take care of each other. That's what America stands for, right? Taking care of your neighbor, being good to yourself. And if we have anything left over, you know what? We can go help other people. You know, but I like this part. It says to be centered, right? Because that's the idea. You need to be centered. You need to be physically relaxed, emotionally calm. Don't get emotional over anything. You need to be mentally focused. And that can't happen if I, go out and change the way that I feel. and spiritually aware. I need to be in touch with my spiritual side, and I do that through prayer and meditation, with a God of my understanding, which may or may not be the same as yours, and that's cool, right? God as we understand him. There are plenty of people in the world who, pray to different gods, and that's okay. One isn't, I don't think one is better than the other, right? Whatever floats your boat, whatever, notches your belt, I guess. But we have to start looking at things in a unemotional way. We need to be mentally focused, where we focus on the positives. Understand there are negatives, but we need to focus on the positives. And we need to take care of each other. And we need to look out for each other. And we need to call people out on their bullshit. Plain and simple. And just so you know, sometimes when you call people out on their bullshit, then they decide that you don't need to work there anymore. But hey, that's a whole nother story. Anyway, I appreciate you guys listening. Check out the website, recoveryiseffingawesome.podbean.com. And until next time, remember, recovery is fucking awesome.